give space to our next speaker, Johan. Are you there, Johan?
Yes, I am.
Great. Share your screen and give us the show.
Thank you, Magnus. Like
Perfect.
that. Perfect. Hey, thank you for the handover there, Magnus, and thank you everyone for taking the time to stay this long in the late afternoon. My name is Johan Jonsson. I'm the CMO and co-founder of Crosser. Crosser is an edge analytics integration and workflow automation platform. A very long explanation, but basically what we do is that we have transformed the way you integrate, how you connect, collect, analyze, and act upon data within smart factories and manufacturers, and also on the higher level of the enterprise integration layer. Crosser is founded in Sweden, but we have offices elsewhere as well, and we are going through Series B round this summer or early autumn. Just to give you a little bit of a context for this, the smart factory projects have challenges. Everyone knows that. Most of the smart factory projects the objectives are working with optimization or efficiency programs in some way. Most of them are pointing towards sustainability goals like lower energy, lower CO2, low waste, these kind of things. But the challenges within in the global industry is huge. The brownfield setup with legacy equipment, legacy systems, there are so many different data sources and protocols. There are so many, how to say, systems and well, different places that you need to collect your data, and most of them are not even connected to internet these days. There are also a huge lack of resources. What we see is that there are lack of people, there's lack of skill sets, and also lack of time, because the IT department have a lot of things to do today. We also see that the OT and IT normally not, well, I'll say traditionally they haven't been working together. There have been different pipes within the industries, and to move forward with digitalization, you need to find a way to make them work together. And one of the major players within low-code development, MuleSoft, released a report late last year, I think, where they have interviewed over 700 decision makers within the space, and everyone did confirm that the IT department need to find a way to be offloaded because they need to do more with less resources. And just to move from that challenge to what we do at Crosser, so I can then explain how you can accelerate your IoT projects within smart factory projects. The Crosser platform consists out of two parts. One of them, and the main IP that we have, is the Crosser node, which is a generic runtime that you can install either at the factory or on a machine or in a gateway or in a network layer, or depending on your needs. And then we have a cloud-based central where you orchestrate all these nodes, but also where you design the type of data flow that you need for that specific use case. And this work process about creating new flows or redoing or modeling or improving existing flows is something that you do in a drag and drop environment with pre-built modules that are for analytics and could contain code like Python and machine learning and other type of, necessary processing that you need. And then what you do is, within this cloud service, you can test these IoT flows with real data. So you can temporarily connect to the type of sensors or machines or systems that you would like to work with, and then make sure that these flows are working. And then you can remotely install these flows to your factory floor. And this process is something that really enhance the way companies work with their IoT projects. So we say that the Crosser concept is about low-code design, central orchestration, but local execution. Oh, sorry, like that. So now to the interesting part here. last year we have what we have done is that we have looked through how our customers are working within their smart factory projects, and what we can see is that normally customers during the first 2 months, the test phase of their work, they implement about how to say 3, 4, 5 use cases, because that's often the scope that they start with. But the funny thing and the interesting thing was that we saw that some of our customers made a huge difference in how many use cases they were able to deploy. Most of the time, one of those flows that I briefly showed you are one use case. Could be a machine learning project, could be just data transformation, could be data cleaning, integration, or whatever, some kind of workflow automation. But so what we looked into was to see why is the average just above, how to say, 8 use cases the first 6 months, while some companies do about 30 use cases for the first 6 months. And we looked into these companies, and we did see a couple of, how to say, trends, or how to say, best practice tips and tricks on how they managed to really leverage and accelerate the work that they were doing. And these 4 success factors that we noticed was that all of these companies started in a very small scale. They started with small, simple use cases where they got to learn the platform, but also, how to say, easy success. And then they scaled these projects into the rest of the organization or the global need that they have. Another success factor that we can see is that they have dedicated teams. They don't have to be that big, could be small teams, but they are dedicated, 1, 2, 3 people. And often they're both from IT and OT. So the third part is that they are bridging the IT and the OT work in one place. So it's very easy for knowing about the machine, but also knowing about the IT competence that you need. And then we saw that these companies always had a hybrid approach. So that meaning that deploying these use cases are not it's not a cloud deployment, it's not an on-premise deployment, it's not an edge deployment, it's depending on the use case, so that you from one place can have a hybrid approach depending on the needs of each specific use case. And many of these smart factory use cases, you need perhaps several deployments, because you have the need of an edge layer, but you can also need an how to say some kind of aggregation layer that's on-premise level, and then you need to well, perhaps have some cloud-based deployments as well, because you have remote assets that you want to connect. So what we see is that if you want to leverage the type of work that you do within the smart factory projects, integrations, machine learning, enhancing your predictive maintenance project, then low code could be a very good way of making your small team develop even faster and innovate faster. And as you can see, some of the customers are doing almost 40 use cases per year now, and keep doing that, which is I think is a great number. So that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johan. Let's see, and I don't find any questions at the moment. Let me ask you a question. Are you feeling that, over the year now, are you feeling that the customers are getting more and more prepared and ready to actually jump onto those projects? Because we have had quite a lot of years now where it's been quite a lot of kind of resistance or talking or too little action, I guess. Is that your view, or what's going on?
Definitely. I would say that, like you say, there have been a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. But all in all, what we see is that customers now have, especially machine learning cases, where they need to get the algorithms out there. They have a model, but they don't know how to get it to the factory floor, to the shop floor, and they don't know how to integrate, well, all necessary machines, and also, well, prepare the data so that the model will run accordingly. This is very common. And I would say that almost every company that we get in contact with have use cases and tests and pilots that they want to go with. So Yeah, definitely. It's. I think we're on the verge to have the avalanche that everyone was talking about a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we know that's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the hype comes before. Right now, I have the same feeling as well, that we are on a point now where things are actually taking off well.